In his most famous collection of poems, William Shakespeare stakes everything on a single recurring promise that his verse can defeat death. Within the fair youth sequence, found in this 1609 edition of Shakespeare's Sonnets, he tells a beautiful young man over and over that poetry will keep his image alive forever. But Sonnet 16 breaks that pattern. For the first time, Shakespeare admits a terrifying possibility that ink and paper might not be strong enough to stop the aging process. He treats time like an invading army, explicitly describing aging as a bloody tyrant, a violent ruler who leaves nothing but ruins in its wake. The young man possesses a rare, extraordinary beauty, yet Shakespeare watches him waste it. He asks his subject why he is fighting this invasion with such weak, ineffective weapons. This sudden crack in Shakespeare's confidence leaves us with a vulnerable human writer. If the master of the English language fears his art is too fragile to endure, it forces us to look at our own chances of survival. Shakespeare pushes the young man toward a physical solution, fathering a child. He calls this a mightier way to resist the tyrant's advance. In the Renaissance, having an heir carried immense weight. Looking at the different generations within a family portrait, you see a culture where reproduction was a moral duty, essential for maintaining social stability. He argues that a living, breathing descendant is a much stronger copy of a person than a flat painting or a written description. Biological lineage becomes the ultimate fortification. There is a strange irony in watching history's greatest writer use his vocabulary to attack the limits of his own craft. Within the world of this poem, artistic legacy is just a shadow. Physical reproduction is presented as the only armor capable of shielding a human being from the ravages of time. Underneath that logical argument lies a psychological panic. Shakespeare writes with a desperate urgency, terrified that this specific, rare beauty will simply vanish from the earth. He locks his words into a rigid framework, following the strict mathematical rhythm of a 14-line sonnet. Yet the speaker trapped inside sounds chaotic and pleading, the emotional pressure trying to burst through those boundaries. That panic comes from the simple reality of mortality. Kings, lovers, and poets all face the same end, and eventually the tyrant wins. This makes the poem feel surprisingly modern. It isn't just a philosophy lesson. It is the sound of a living person terrified of being forgotten, thrashing around inside a perfectly built cage. 400 years later, we can see a massive historical contradiction at the heart of this argument. History has entirely erased the mightier way. If the young man ever had descendants, they are unknown, and their names have been lost for centuries. Now, look at the artistic defense. Shakespeare's body is under these carved stone floor slabs, yet the exact words he dismissed as weak are the only things that survived. By writing a masterpiece about how art fails to protect us, Shakespeare unintentionally proved that art is the only thing with the power to endure. This 400-year-old anxiety mirrors the modern dread of being erased. We still struggle with the same fear, curating digital photos and social media profiles in a desperate attempt to build a permanent legacy out of pixels. Time remains an undefeated tyrant, but Sonnet 16 proves that our instinct to write, to build, and to create anyway is our most beautiful act.